So over the last couple of videos, I've been through how you would make a decision in property investment and how to know whether you should go ahead with something or you shouldn't go ahead with something. And you need to make that decision based upon what you are trying to achieve. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to have a little bit of a look through the regular sites that I would look through for properties. Now, caveat, at this moment in time, I'm finishing off a development. The money that I use for that is going to be ploughed into buying a home for Chris and I. That is my next investment decision. That's what I'm doing right now. So I am not going to be purchasing these properties, and that is the reason. I want as much money in my bank account so that I can buy the home of our dreams. That's it. That's the prerogative right now. So I'm going to show you what I would be looking for and why I would buy a certain property. This is not advice. Whatever I say here, you have to make your own decisions. This is based upon what I'm looking at on the market right now, phone calls that I've made to local agents, and how I'm looking at things. And hopefully you seeing how I look at things may make you start thinking about how you can look at deals and whether they're right for you or not right for you. And hey, you might look at my thought process and go, Natasha, I wouldn't even do that. Or Natasha, that seems so outlandish. Also, absolutely fine, because guess what? We all have our own investment decisions. So I'm cool doing me. You need to be cool doing you too. But I thought a little bit of an example on this probably will go a long way to showing you how you should think about doing this. So without further ado, let's have a look. All right, let's start as we mean to go on. First place, I always check, because I invest in Bath, is I go to Bath and have a look around. I always look for 2-bedroom properties, and I don't really look at what the amount is that I'd be purchasing it for. So, gosh, I think we need to go back to the start. I was having a flick through this earlier. So I know roughly that a 2-bedroom flat in central Bath really should not be more than £300,000, and even that is probably quite toppy nowadays. And so what I do is I literally just have a look through what is on the market right now. So this looks like a good price because it's £230,000. Now, one of the big things is, if we look at it on the map, it's very far out of town. So it's never going to command the amount that a flat would get in central Bath. And to be honest, I wouldn't buy a flat out here. So this actually isn't for me. Although it is a good size at 730 square feet. So around about the size of a 2-bedroom flat I'd be looking at. But there we go, discarded. Not for me. No, thank you. Okay, so we keep going through. I don't really like buying these kind of houses. This is the sort of thing my dad would look at and be like, yeah, this looks great. That's not what I'm looking for. No. So none of this is really catching my eye. I just keep going through. Walk-up buildings. Potential. Again, a little bit out of town, and these properties from experience hang around on the market all the time because the London Road in Bath incredibly busy, and the furthest down I would probably go is to Walcott Terrace. That's about as far down as I would go. So this, although nicely within my budget, not the property for me. Discarded. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm making decisions very, very quickly. Unless that showed up at like £200,000, in which case, yeah, sure, okay. That would get me interested, but I'm not doing that, so no thank you. Also, take a look as you're flipping through these. Reduced on. There is a lot of reductions coming. This, again, is quite far outside the city centre. I'm not going to look at it. I know it's outside of the city centre. So we keep scrolling. And Am I discounting things? Yeah. Sometimes I do just discount things because of the picture, but look, they've done this up really nicely inside. The outside of the property, eesh, not for me, and it's again quite far outside where my investment zone would be in Bath. So again, keep scrolling. It's not what I want to buy. The reason I look at 2-bedroom flats or apartments is they let really quickly. Wells Road, really busy road. Again, a little bit far out of town. Don't really want to buy there. That's why I'm not looking at that. Lower Oldfield Park, may look at it. I think 267 is quite overpriced for Oldfield Park. So again, I'm not looking at that. I want town centre for my £300,000 budget. And I want it to be good town centre. Aha, here we go. 2-bedroom apartment for sale, Bennett Street. That's where the Assembly Rooms is in Bath. Let's open this in a new tab. Okay, so let's have a look. Beautiful building. This is actually where I'd normally park my car when I'm in town. So always parking there. Every time I drive my car down the hill, it's always parking there. As I said, Assembly Rooms right here. So yes, do I like the location? I love this location. Absolutely love it. Do I like the inside of this flat? Yes, all right. Wooden floors, needs to redecorate. Look at this bathroom, needs a new bathroom. Only just been added. Let's have a look at the floor plan now. Total approx floor area, 659 square feet. And I assume the bathroom area of 90 square feet is added on top, which makes it around about 750 square foot for a 2-bedroom flat. That is a good size. Although, have a look, this second bedroom's a lot smaller than bedroom 1. That would be something that I would have to check out because I want 2 similar sized bedrooms. I tried phoning the agent. You'll see this on the screen. Didn't pick up the phone. So I don't know if this is a long leasehold or a short leasehold. If it's a 999 year lease, fabulous. Provided the freeholder is not the local housing scheme. And the reason I wouldn't buy from them as the freeholder is they're difficult. I know that. Based upon trying to negotiate on properties with them before, I will stay away. I didn't lose any money on that, but because they were so slow, it wasn't for me. Okay, so £275,000. Probably wouldn't pay that much. I would be looking to pay 250,000 tops. Great location. If I could get this on a holiday let and I could change the lease, it would rent out really well because of location and also because of the parking. Rent per calendar month is a 2-bed. I know I could probably get it for 1,100. Monthly interest payments, I actually could probably get it closer to 3%. Management, 10%. No, I can get that for 8%. Maintenance, that would actually be in the service charge, so I'd take that down to 5%. Insurance, £20. Void period. So I have experience of letting flats in Bath. I know that my void period will actually be closer to a month if I was going to have a void period. Landlord licensing is 0 in Bath. No landlord licensing yet. Do I need a contingency here? Potentially. Right. So the end figure is £206.58. Is that good? Not really. I would need to get my expenditure down. The income I know is capped at that 1,100. You're not going to get any more for that. I would hope that the service charge was not this expensive. Actually, service charge for my other flats in Bath comes out at about £50 per month, roughly. Still not really having this huge impact on this, this contingency. Would I buy it at 250 actually based upon this? If I didn't have a void period, then I'm saving myself £100 every month that I don't have to put in as a contingency, but I would always save up at least 1 month's of rent and have that in the savings. Would I buy it? That's the decision-making question. Well, if I got it for £240, would that make it any better? Maybe. I would have to do a little bit of work on it, so let's reduce that down again. Look, a central Bath in prime location, probably wouldn't get it for 235, probably would get an offer accepted around 250. Is that worth it with the uplift? I personally would probably buy it for a steady income stream, especially because I could probably get lower than a 3% interest if I had 75 grand to spend on this. Some of you may be saying, Natasha, why on earth would you buy this? But I love location. I love that I could use it for serviced accommodation. I love that I could use it for rental. I don't think it's going to increase in value much past £300,000. Okay, fine. You know, if I had money set in the bank for a long-term income stream, yeah, this would be nice. And building my portfolio out in the centre of Bath, also really nice. I would prefer it if it had a garden. So what would I do here in this situation if I had 75 grand in the bank and I wasn't going to use it because I wasn't going to recycle it. I just needed to buy something that was going to go in my long-term income stream portfolio. I would put in an offer at 235 and start there. That's where I would start. If they wanted over 250, I would not buy it. The purpose of this would just be to have another really nice income generating, easy to let flat in the centre of town. However, if I come across something of a similar price with a garden, I'd buy that. And I haven't looked through all of the listings yet. But Bath is expensive, really expensive. The buildings are beautiful though, and I have that love with these Georgian grade 2 listed properties. And I know some of you will be like, Natasha, this is ridiculous. Yes, it is ridiculous, but these will stand the test of time. They don't particularly lose value. They don't go up in value very quickly, but the city is beautiful and they hold their own. And that is my decision-making process behind it. If you wanted to recycle your money and get the money out really quickly, this is not the property for you. It definitely is not the property for you. This is something that you buy and hold long term, and it will go up incrementally, and you could probably get quite a cheap mortgage on it and play around with the figures a little bit more and get more of a healthy income stream if you like that kind of thing. And I wouldn't necessarily always buy it, but as I said, if I had 75 grand that I didn't know what to do with, yeah, probably it'd make a really nice addition. These flats are lovely. They really are. They're beautiful. And actually surprisingly easy to manage. So there we go. That's my decision-making process there. I did actually phone Andrews about this just to find out what was going on with it. If it's got a 999-year lease and it's quite attractive. I did want to know what the service charge was and the ground rent as well. That would help me. If I could read the lease, that would help me even more. But anyway, how long have I been looking at this for? 5 minutes, made a quick phone call. That's that. We move on. All right, let's move on to commercial. Okay, so what I have done is I have gone to Allsops auctions, and it's the commercial auction, and I'm going to change the status from sold to available so that I can see what's available. And the reason I'm doing this is because where it says the guide price, that means that that's roughly how much they want, and you put an offer in accordingly. And then they've got initial yields, and I always aim for an initial yield of around 10%, roughly. So let's have a look. So we've got this freehold shop and residential investment, 1.9 to 2 million pounds. Some of you are going to go, so I won't look at that right now. We have got attractive grade 2 listed freehold shop investment and residential development opportunity. I'm not looking at developments. I'm not going to go there. So let's keep going. What can I see that looks exciting for me? Ooh. Okay, so here we go. Freehold shop and investment, Newport, Southeast, available at a 9.57% initial yield, £575,000. Shall we have a look? Okay, cool. So here we go. Isle of Wight, Newport, biggest town on the Isle of Wight, town centre. It's a Specsavers. That's really good at this time of year. Time of the season, COVID, people still need opticians. Specsavers tends to do pretty well. Let's have a look. Accommodation and tenancy schedule. That is the first place that I start. So they have the whole of the accommodation. So they have everything, but there's a first, second and third floor. 10 years from August 2015, rent review every 5th year, and my favourite, full repairing and insuring. Yes! The reversion is 2025. That is when you are getting your property back, supposedly. Specsavers trades more than... Okay, so that's all of the financial details. Okay. I've been to Newport, Isle of Wight. I know that it can be quite a good town centre because it really is the only town centre they've got. The big drawback for me of this is that it's very difficult for me to get there. But anyway, you know, is what it is. Legal documents. Here we go. There are legal documents available for this. I want you to make sure that you go through all of this. I'm not going to have time in the next 5 minutes. So let me have a look. Rent payment history, really important. Let's have a look. Come on, rent payment history. What does it say? Okay, so here's the rent payment history. What can we see? They've got £16,500 outstanding. Now, it looks like they've been paying £5,500 on the drip since July, and there is nothing here for September. Oh look, they've been paying on the drip since March. Okay, not a great sign. So let's go back to the lot overview. Anything else that it says here that we need to be... Monthly rent letter. Okay, let's have a look at this because yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. So this is a COVID-19 letter. A lot of tenants have written this. Okay, so they've said that they have now changed to monthly payments. Fine. They still have that £16,500 outstanding. A little bit worrying, right? So that's a red flag. But then they've got the lease here, and let's have a look at the lease. For those of you who know me, I love a good lease. I'm a commercial lease expert. So here we go. Here's the lease. You always need to have a go through the lease, and in the members club I teach you how to go through the lease in detail. I'm going to do this really quickly. What am I looking for? Well, I know that they've got 5 years left on this lease to run. I know that it's for repairing and insuring, so I'm hoping that there is going to be a service charge clause in here. There was a rent review which has already been operated, and this lease ends on the 19th of August 2025. One of the things that I do need to look at is this an inside the act lease? And all you're looking to find out is if sections 24 to 28 have been excluded from this lease. So we just scroll through really quickly. If you're doing this, you have to do this in more detail, and if you look at this deal, this is not me giving you advice on it. This is me looking at what I look for. In my very, very quick search through, yeah, nothing about it being outside the act. So this is an inside the act lease, assuming. Okay, so first thing that you would need to notice with this is that I think £575,000 is overpriced for this unit. I wouldn't pay 575 for it. Maybe you would look at trying to get £100,000 discount off of this. They are actually quite a good covenant tenant. You would just need to make sure that you get that rent paid up. You might want to ask for that $16,500 discount from the current seller. That would be an option. Now, if this was an outside the act lease, I would be really happy to purchase this because I could take the unit back. I could probably turn the upper floors into flats if that's what I wanted to do. It's in a good area. And then do a surrender and regrant of the lease to Specsavers. I assume that they're using the upper parts for the optician, so there's probably space for that, which is why they've got the whole building, which means that they've got the inside the act lease. The inside the act lease means that they've got the automatic right to renew at the end. If you could get this at a good enough discount, so I would probably put an offer in around the 4s, then they would be, again, the sort of property that you would hold long term and they would keep paying because Specsavers is quite a good for the demographic of people that live in this area, and they would always be useful, providing, and I have not done a Google recently of how well this tenant are doing. However, again, there isn't much of a value add here over the time unless rents go up in 5 years' time. It does look like a better quality unit or property than the ones next door, and it's a full repairing and insuring lease. The tenant has got all of the maintenance responsibilities, which is good. Essentially, with this property, you would buy it, sit on it, and just watch the income roll in. So if you want a little bit of an income generator, this would probably be it. And let me roughly guesstimate how much that would be. So the annual rent, 55,000. Didn't look if it was with VAT. You're going to be putting down actually probably a 40% deposit on that, so you would need a bit of a hefty amount of money. As the deposit here, I would actually say try it out at 450,000. I'm not saying to offer that, you do you. Would there be any? There's no maintenance payable. There's no insurance payable. There's no void period. No contingency needed on this. Probably around a 4%. You'd be putting, what, roughly 207,000 into this for £1,358.33 a month. Is it worth it? Not probably for that much of a deposit, with you not being able to do anything with it long term. You could put 25% deposit in. Oh no, sorry, net profit per month, 3,000. Sorry, did not see that. Oh yeah. Definitely. I work on the rule of thumb of you put, for every 100,000 you put in cash, you want a minimum of a net profit of 1,000. So 3,000 net profit per month if you bought it for 450,000. I don't think you're going to get the 25% loan to value, so let's go back to the 40% loan to value. Yeah, works out all right if you've got the cash in the bank. Yeah, for a £3,000 net profit per month and you only had to buy one property, I mean, it'd work out really good if you could get the 25% loan to value, but again, you'd have to negotiate so hard on the property purchase price. And again, this is not advice, this is just me doing a sensitivity analysis on this and looking at what would be acceptable for me. So there's not really much scope to do anything with the building because of that inside the lease. This tenant has the right to renew. If they don't renew, I'm sure that they would assign to a different tenant. If you did want to get them out, it's under the grounds section 30 of the 1954 Act. It's hard to prove. There's potential for it, but really you would be buying this with the idea that you're just going to sit on a good rental income coming in for the next however many years. And if you want to put, you know, £200,000 in it and sit on £3,000 coming out, seems all right, doesn't it? Doesn't seem too bad at all. But again, caveat, I have not just given you a recommendation for what to purchase this at. I've given you what I look at when I'm analysing deals, but hopefully this has helped you with the decision-making process and what I look at and why it would work for me and why it wouldn't. You go away and do that yourself. And I've done this in what, 20 minutes? You know, so you get to do the same. Take a punt on these things. See what works for you. See what doesn't work for you. Give it a go and play around with your deal analysis. This deal analysis spreadsheet for all of the different types of property is in the members club. And this is the sort of thing we do in the Q&As. We go through this kind of thing. And if you want to try that, come on over to our property investment decision making forum. It's free. It's for you to give this a go. All right. Hopefully this has been useful.